Hey Bulls and Bears, JJ here, you're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust. Today we're going to talk about rents, but first real quick, why do we talk about rents? Well, rents give us a good snapshot of the true cash position of the typical US consumer. And why do I say that? Well, home prices, they can be easily bid up with money that people don't have. Rents, it's money that people have to have cash month to month unless someone's taking out, of course, debt to pay rent, which is not very common. So therefore, rents give us a better snapshot of the true purchasing power on a month-to-month basis of the typical US home and apartment dweller. So let's start off right here. This is out of Apartment List, and it's apartmentlist.com. We're going to link to all these articles with all these charts. And if we look down to the bottom here, we see the year-over-year rent increase in purple for the most recent year, and this is recently updated just a couple weeks ago. We see that the year-over-year increase is actually much lower than previous years. 2015 to 2016, it was well over 3%. 2017, 2018, 2.8% approximately. So this most recent year is amongst one of the slowest years for year-over-year rent increases. Now we need to talk about why is that. Well, let's talk about a couple different reasons. Now, rent growth, it does typically tend to be slower in the fall and winter months due to seasonality in the market. But this year, rent growth began to slow before the summer was through, and that early into the summer rent spike marked the beginning of a prolonged period of stagnant rent growth. But with that said, rents have not fallen in a meaningful way, as they sometimes do during the off season or during the winter months. They just remain stagnant. Now here's where it gets a bit interesting. Rent growth is trailing the overall rate of inflation. And if you want to believe the official number, it's about 2.3%. And also here's where it gets even more interesting. Rent growth lags even further behind the growth in average hourly earnings, which have increased by about 2.9% over the past 12 months. And there's many reasons why people are pointing to this. You would think with wage increases being close to 3%, you would also see rent growth or rent increase also up 3%, but that's not the case. And why is that? Well, I think it's because people have less money at the end of the month because of this rising debt, credit card debt, student loan debt, and this just general inflation that we see throughout the economy in most areas. So when there's an apartment or home put up for rent, instead of getting 20 applications for people trying to get into that apartment, therefore allowing the property owner to ask inflated prices for the rent, maybe they're not getting as many offers. Maybe they're getting none or zero or one or two, depending on the area. So this stagnant rent growth year over year does tell us that something has changed in the economy versus just a few years ago when rents were increasing over 3% and right around 3%. Now let's take a quick look at the cities that saw the biggest increase year over year in rents. And this is still out of Apartment List. We see Mesa, Arizona, 5% year over year. Henderson, Nevada at about 4.2%. Phoenix, Arizona at about 3.7%. Colorado Springs, Colorado at about 3.2%. Also Nashville, 3.2%. Austin, Texas, Las Vegas, Nevada about the same, 3.2%. Stockton, California at about 2.9%, as well as Plano, Texas, and Arlington, Texas coming in at about 2.6%. And it is no surprise to see Arizona and Nevada amongst the top growing areas for rent and rent increases, as we see a lot of people leaving California to those outlying states. Now, the Las Vegas metro area has seen rapid job growth, but many of those jobs are low-paying service and tourism industries, so we'll have to see where this leads us in that area. And we also saw 3 different Texas cities show up in that top 10 list. And as you might know, Texas is attracting many people from higher priced areas, again, California. Many people going to Texas to get lower taxes and lower cost of living. And one of the most popular destinations is Austin, Texas. Now here's the methodology behind the Apartment List rent report. Data is drawn monthly from millions of listings, and it includes 1 and 2 bedroom rents, and they're calculated as the median for units that are available in the specific size and time period. So, why are rents not rising as fast as wages in many areas? Well, one reason that's floated out there is a lot is because more people are now able to buy a home because you have the looser lending and it's getting easier to qualify for a mortgage in this repo bailout economy. But December pending home sales fall 4.9% as supply hits a record low. So it's not easy to find the exact home that you're looking for if you're out there looking to buy a home because of very low inventory. And we also have mortgage rates that are down near the lowest in several decades. And it's interesting when you look back to the 1980s and you see these rates over 15% approaching 17, 18, 19%. And many are asking, will mortgage rates and just interest rates in general ever rise again? Well, many people say no. Because of the debt levels right now, people say that they can never raise rates. Otherwise, everything will come to a screeching halt, and that could be a possibility. That's going to be about all for this rent update. Hope everybody's well. Now, in a future episode in the very near future, probably in the next few days, we're going to talk about the cities where it's actually cheaper to buy a home than it is to rent. And yes, there are still cities out there where owning a home, including all the carrying costs, is cheaper than what you're going to pay in the average monthly rent. And also in the next few days, we're going to get our actual real estate report episode out. I know it's been a couple weeks. We want to see the direction of home prices, the lending situation. Is lending loosening? Is it getting tighter? Are home prices going up, going down, stagnant? We're going to talk about all that. And as usual, we're going to tie it in with the broader economy. So again, hope everybody's well. Thank you for watching this episode. And I'd like to hear from you down in the comments. What is your take on the rent increase up only 1.6% year over year, which is amongst the slowest year over year rent increases over the past 5 years? Is this an indicator of people are starting to get more pinched in the wallet? Or is it that more people are going to buy homes, therefore the demand for rentals is getting lower? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.